Welcome back to A Life of KG. I am so excited to have on the show Niyc Pidgeon, all the way from Beverly Hills. Niyc owns a multi-7-figure business, so if you're currently in 6 figures and would love to push to 7 figures, wouldn't we all? This episode is for you. Please share and tag us on social media if you love this episode as much as me, and subscribe to the podcast, it really means a lot. Without further ado, here she is.
The Pro Gel, classic professional British. The Pro Gel is a proud British brand designed and created for nail professionals by nail professionals. We have a wide range of professionals only product with over 200 highly pigmented gel polish colours that are all vegan and cruelty free, express tips and lots more. Make sure you follow us on socials at the Pro Gel UK and use code KGLife10 to receive 10% off your first order.
Niyc, thank you so much for coming on The Life of KG. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Very excited to have you all the way from, where are you?
I'm in Beverly Hills, Los Angeles, but I'm originally from Newcastle.
Oh my God, I absolutely love that. I can't wait to hear all about it. But before we get on to that, let's do our quick fire questions. So you have no idea what I'm going to be saying, so let's see. Instagram or Facebook?
Ooh, Instagram. That's where we connected, Instagram.
It is. Money or freedom?
Oh, freedom.
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah.
Cook or meal out?
Meal out.
Podcast or book?
Ooh, book.
Would you actually have an audiobook or an actual book?
I have both. So I have an audio book, a journal, an actual book, and then another book coming out, and a podcast. So
yeah, because you have your own book as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, we can touch on that also. If you could choose sleep loss or skip a meal?
Oh, skip a meal every time. I used to be able to skip a night's sleep, but since I've got older, now I'm in my 30s, I'm like, do not mess with my sleep. So yeah, definitely skip a meal.
I would say I need my food, so I think I'm more food than anything. I get hangry otherwise. Oh, so if you could please just introduce yourself and just let everyone know exactly what you do.
Yes, absolutely. So my name's Niyc Pidgeon and I'm a positive psychologist. I'm a triple certified success coach and business coach. I'm primarily working with women, and I'm also an author with the world's biggest mind, body, and spirit publishing company, which is called Hay House. So over the last probably about 5 or 6 years, I've helped other women in business make almost $30 million online. So I love what I do. I'm so grateful. And I just, honestly, it's just such an honor. Like this is our job. Do you know what I mean? Hanging out with amazing people, having conversations, helping each other. I just feel so blessed every day.
Oh, I absolutely love that. You just, I don't know, I can't wait to hear your story. It's going to be incredible. But it, like you say, this is our job, like talking and networking and raising other people up and seeing other people be successful. It's such a blessing, isn't it?
Totally. So fun as well. Like it's a new way of doing business or doing a career.
Yeah, for sure. So what's your background? Where did you start in this entrepreneurial journey of yours?
So my first kind of adventure into entrepreneurship was when I was at high school. I don't know if you remember or if you had it at your school. It was like this initiative called Young Enterprise, where you basically set up a fake business in high school and you have to run it and test it and sell something. So that was my very first adventure in entrepreneurship. And we made and sold tie-dye socks. So that was our little business. And I was managing director of that, which was the thing that I actually learned the most from that is that I need to delegate. I felt like I was like keeping all of the responsibility for myself and then getting annoyed when people like weren't doing things, but it was because I wasn't asking for help. So that was a bigger learning when I was kind of like 15, 16. And then I actually took a total detour So I'd done really well in business studies at high school and ended up not going on to do that at university. I ended up applying to be a mechanical and automotive engineer. And yeah, crazy, right? So I'd done like maths and physics and all of these kind of hardcore subjects at high school. And my dad wanted me to further the study of maths because he was like, it'll open doors for you, Nick, and it's going to make you more successful in the long term. So I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds like a sensible idea. So I wasn't into psychology. I wasn't into business. But then I had this conversation that made me totally change my mind. So my ex-partner at the time was a professional cricket player, and he was seeing a sports psychologist who said to him, like, when you're out and you're about to play cricket and you're out on the field and you've got the bat in your hand, I want you to look around the field, but instead of looking at the fielders, I want you to look for the gaps in between them instead. So when I heard that, I was like, oh my goodness, like this doesn't just apply to cricket, it applies to life. Because how many times do you focus on what's going wrong in your life instead of what's going right? How many times do you look at the bills that are coming in rather than the possibility and the potential to make more money? So after that one conversation, I changed my degrees and I stopped studying engineering, and I decided I was going to go and study psychology because I was so excited about the power of the mind to be able to shift your life. So I went and studied psychology with sport at university and then went on to do a master's in positive psychology. And then once I graduated in 2012, which, oh my goodness, that's 10 years ago now, I came out of that degree and I set up my own business. So I was doing motivational speaking, I was doing coaching, and at the time I was actually also working as a personal trainer. So I was kind of doing all these things that I loved, but honestly, I was doing them really badly, Katie. So I was like working really, really hard, doing things I love. I didn't really understand business and making money and profit back then. So it felt like I was on this roller coaster of ups and downs of making money one moment and then being so stressed out because I didn't have any money the next month.
Wow. So you've done that and not known really where to, how to build the business, how to know profit, how to know money, to go on to build a 7-figure business. So how, like, was that a slow burner then, or was you like, oh my God, this has just happened overnight?
It depends whether you look at like the perception from the outside or what was really going on on the inside. So like now I have a multi-7-figure business, and I did my first 7 figures before I was 30. So I made $1 million before I was 30. I'm now 34. And like, if you look at other people's journeys online, or you look at their success online, maybe you stumble across someone's Instagram profile and you're like, oh, wow, this person's amazing. Like they've done so much. You are taking that as like a snapshot. And you're like, whoa, this person's done this really fast. She's only 34 and she's created all of this success. But in terms of my perspective, I've actually been on this journey of entrepreneurship and positive psychology for around about 13 years now. So my first business that I ever set up, not the one in high school, like an actual business, I set up in 2009 or 2010. So to go from having started a business then to finally creating success now, it feels like it's been more of a, like putting one foot in front of the other process for me, and just being like, right, what is the next positive step that I can take? And I trust myself and I believe in myself. And even though I have these big goals, I understand they're not going to come to me in the next couple of weeks. And I've really got to be consistent, and I've really got to keep going, and I've got to keep growing over time. So I think it's important that we don't judge ourselves against other people's success, because you never know what it took that person to get to where they are right now.
Definitely. People just see all the perception online, don't they? And all the fancy stuff. They don't see at all how they got there. So like, what is it really like then to run a company that is that successful? Because I know it can't be easy.
it always changes. So you just get different challenges as you grow. So when I first started in business, it was this like not knowing what I really wanted to do and not being able to make money. And then I really understood, it's probably around 2015, that was when I really started to understand how to make big money. And I started to make kind of 30,000 per month. I made 100,000, like 100K in 100 days. And then I went on to scale and grow from there. And when I was in that phase, like making the 100K in 100 days, what was tough about that was I really had to start to believe in myself that I could make that kind of money. So it felt like at that time, it was a lot of inner work. It was a lot of mindset work. It was a lot of applying my positive psychology tools to myself in order to be able to create success. Then once I got over that phase of understanding how to make cash, it was then the challenge of understanding how to build systems. So it was more like setting up my marketing funnels and building a team. So it was like, okay, I know how to make money, but now how do I scale the company by investing in systems and team? Then the next level, so once I'd made 7 figures and I was like shifting more into the multi-7-figure space, it was much more around like, how do I really reclaim my time? So how do I operate more in alignment with my strengths and my superpowers so that I get to enjoy my life so much more? And so that I'm not still acting like a solopreneur and I'm acting like a CEO in the business, so that other people can go and they can be great at what they do in the business and I can be great at what I do too. So I feel like there might be an assumption about when you make $1 million, everything gets easier. And probably the receiving of the money or the level of receiving that you're able to expand to within yourself gets easier. But then you get 1 million other different challenges. So now you're like, okay, what investments should I make? Or what legal agreements do we need to have? Now we're a big company. How do we hire really well? So I feel like entrepreneurship really is a vehicle for personal growth, because you have to grow as a person along the way, because there's so much that you've got to learn.
I totally agree. And it's just always changing. And I think you'll be able to answer this because I'm 6-figure business, you're 7-figure business. But do you find that people get stuck just before 6 figures and think, okay, how can I make 6 figures? Then they get to 6 figures. Then we feel very stuck within 6 figures. And we're like, how do we get 7 figures? Then you say you're in 7 figures and gone to multiple 7 figures. How do you get to multiple 7 figures? Do you feel like it's different mindset shift every single time and different learning you have to do along the way? Do you think, how do you go on to earn more and more and more?
Yeah, definitely. It's like every phase of growth requires a new sense of self, a new level of self-belief, a new mindset and perspective, and also new strategies. So what's got you to where you are now is not what's going to get you to your next level. And I think that's a danger, especially in the online space, because everything moves so quickly. And I mean, when I look at, like I say, I'm 34, when I look at like the younger generation and they're all doing all of these things so much more quickly, I feel like you feel a lot older because technology moves so fast. So you have to move fast if you want to keep up, if you want to be ahead of the curve. So there's always going to be more that you can learn. And you have to really figure out how you can maximize your results whilst looking after yourself in the process too. So I feel like what's different about running this business right now compared with when it was a 6-figure business is everything's much more streamlined. I am way more organized than I used to be, because when I was at 6 figures, I didn't have the capacity to focus on all of the things that I can focus on now. It's like you're always growing. It's like when I look at people who are mums, before you're a mum, you probably think, how am I ever going to do this? How am I ever going to be able to manage being a mum and being a partner and having a job or having a business? But you know what? You just do it. You get on with it. You grow. You're able to hold more responsibility. And that's what it's like in a business. if you had have told me when I was at 6 figures that I would be easily running a team of 30 people, I would be like, there's no way I can handle that. It felt like too much of a big jump. But now looking back, I'm like, oh, cool. It's just because I wasn't ready yet in myself. And now I find it easy. And I'm sure when I have like an 8-figure business, it's going to be even easier because I'm going to be even more evolved.
Yeah, that's actually incredible. From going from no team members to 30, I think you just said. How did you find recruitment, learning to be a leader, gaining team members that fit with your business? Was that a struggle, or did you kind of do that naturally?
There's definitely been some challenges along the way, and I've made some great hires early on in the company, and I also made some poor decisions. So, everyone tells you like, don't work with friends. I was like, yeah, but it'll be fine. My friend needs a job, so I'm just going to give her a job. And I made the mistake of having a great person and trying to give them a role. Whereas what's best to do is get clear on the role and then find the right person for the role. So I learned with those type of experiences very quickly, because we weren't getting the results that we wanted because it was the wrong person in the role or the right person in the wrong role. So that was a big learning. And I also had this mindset of it's going to feel heavy to run a big team, and it's going to cost a lot of money to run a big team. So I think I actually kept myself playing small for a long time because I was too scared to grow and scale, because I thought that the big team was going to mean now I'm just paying everyone's wages and we're not making more money. Whereas the whole point of having a team is actually that the team support the growth of the business and you're able to grow more quickly. So once I got over that mindset and I really got out of scarcity and I got into abundance thinking, I was able to grow and scale more quickly. I also do a lot of work in positive psychology with character strengths. So I got clear on what my strengths are. And then when we hire, we use the Kolbe profile and the Gallup strengths profile. So we literally have personality profiles for all of our people, and we lead the business based on that. So it means everyone's much more energized and everyone's really clear on what they're good at. So the business performs better as a result and everyone feels happier. So I don't regret making those mistakes early on because it taught me so much. And now I know the difference between when it feels aligned in the team and not aligned in the team. And I can make faster decisions now because of those learnings that I had earlier on.
Really interesting, because I also do think when people start to hire and find teams, they assume that as a boss or as a leader, they need to know everything. So then they do hire the people that might not know. And like you said, make jobs fit people. Like I remember I done that once, hired someone that I absolutely loved, but actually what she was meant to do wasn't specialist for her. Like I knew more than what her role was. So I had to train. But really, I wanted her to just come straight in and be better than what I am at that role. So now I've realized that I need to hire people that are better than me. Otherwise, what's the point hiring them? I want them to, then you can pay people better money because actually they're fast forward in the business because they know exactly what they're doing in that role.
Totally. Super smart.
Yeah, which is scary when you're first taking on teams and you think, oh, but I'm going to have to pay them this, I'm going to have to pay them that. What if the money don't come in? But they are there to make money.
Exactly.
So I'm sure lots of people listening and watching will be like, what, Nick, what do you do? What makes this 7-figure business?
Do you mean in terms of like, what are the offers and the services that we have?
Yeah, what is it like is it your book? You're doing your mentoring, your coaching, your programs? What is it that's involved in your business?
So we have 3 core offers, which are our like main things that we like how we serve our clients. We have a mastermind program for students that want to scale their online businesses through $20K, $50K, and $100,000 months. We also have a next level mastermind after that one, which is when you're already at multi 6 figures in your business and you want to grow through 1 million, or you're already at 7 figures and you want to double your business and grow through multi-millions. So that's the Unstoppable Success Accelerator and the Unstoppable Elite. I also have a Positive Psychology Coach certification. So that is training and certifying, qualifying new coaches or existing coaches who want to add positive psychology into their business so that they can get certified to do that. As well as that, I've got 10 different digital courses. I have the book, Now Is Your Chance, which is a positive psychology guide to living your happiest life. And I have the journal that goes with that. We have these amazing, sexy candles. So we've got a product line as well. And then we've got like a couple of documentaries. We've got a new one that's coming out this year. I run retreats in person here in LA. So I feel like I just get to do all my favorite things every day.
My goal is to come on one of your retreats.
Yes, do it, please.
Definitely. Like that is one of my goals for sure.
Okay.
So on your whole journey, what would you say has been the highlight of the best thing that's happened in your success journey so far?
Do you know what? It's actually the little things that are the big things. So things like writing a book, for example, or doing a documentary or doing a podcast, you have like the big launch, and that's so cool because you're like, yeah, you've got like a #1 podcast, or you've got a best-selling book, or you're standing on stage and speaking in front of thousands of people. They're really special moments. And what actually feels most fulfilling for me is, even though that book came out 4 years ago, I still get messages pretty much every day from people that are like, Nick, I was going to take my own life and I read your book and I'm still here. And it's because of your book that I'm now happier than I've ever been. So it's like you create these things and then they go out into the world, and the impact that they're having and being made aware of that impact is literally why I do what I do.
Wow, that's just giving me goosebumps. Where can people get your book from?
So I'll actually give you a link, Katie. You can get the book for free. You just pay the shipping. So it's from nowisyourchancebook.com. So I'll give you that for all your people.
Amazing, amazing. I'm sure nearly everyone will be doing that. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And then out of your journey then, what's been your hardest point? Maybe the lowest point? Is there a point where you thought, I just don't know if I can do this anymore?
Yes, many times. And I think that's another thing that we get to realize about entrepreneurship. It's not going to be easy. And that's why most people quit. So I have like this philosophy that the only way you can fail is if you quit on yourself. And I made a decision that I'm never going to quit on myself, which means I'm never going to fail, which means I'm always going to be successful. But there are days where you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Or, oh my God, I've got this thing going on with my health, or this just feels too hard and I don't want to do it. So sometimes it's things in the business, often it's things in your personal life. And you know what? You've just got to get on with it. So I feel like the journey of life and business is always going to throw you curveballs. And those challenges are the opportunities that get you to learn more about yourself. They get you to learn more about your customers. They get you to learn more about how you want to operate. So then you can start to do things differently. So rather than seeing it as like good and bad, I see it all as good, but some of it is just harder than the rest.
Definitely. And everything that gets chucked at you always makes you stronger, learn. You always end up coming out the other end. God never gives you something you can't handle.
Totally.
So I'm sure a lot of people listening will be thinking, how do you get from six figures to 7 figures? Do you have any tips that you could share with the listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. So from 6 figures to 7 figures, like I mentioned before, you're going to be looking a lot at systems. So for me, making 6 figures felt like what I was doing was I was going to my social media audience and I was going to my email list and I was saying, hey guys, I've got this amazing thing. and I'd love to invite you to apply for it. Let's get on the phone, let's have a conversation, and let's see if it's a good fit. So it was very simple on the way to six figures. When I moved from making six figures in a year to making six figures in a month, it was much more looking at how can I grow the email list? How can I build funnels where I give away a PDF or a masterclass or do a free challenge so that more people get to have the help on the front end, and then a percentage of them will come and work with us in our programs. So all you need is one good funnel to get to seven figures, but it might take you 3 tries to figure out what the one good funnel is. So that would be a big recommendation that I have, is what system or what funnel can you build? It doesn't have to be paid ads. It can still be organic. I have clients who make $1 million with no paid ads. So, but you need something that is actually extending the customer journey and is building the know, like, and trust factor. So you're not just going to your audience all of the time and go and buy my thing. So it might be writing a book, or it might be creating a free checklist or a PDF or a masterclass training or a workshop or something like that. But you want to give your potential clients and students a way to learn from you and a way for them to see what it's going to feel like if you work together. Because like our programs, they're like 6 months or they're like 12 months. And then most of my clients stay 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years. So imagine you want to hang out with someone for 5 years. You want to make sure that it's actually going to be enjoyable for you.
Definitely. It's so funny you said about funnels, because I actually had a session with my business coach earlier today, and she was like, right, now we need to work on funnels. And now you just said that, I'm like, right, tomorrow I know what I'm doing.
Love it.
Oh, well, Nick, I'm not going to keep you much longer because I know you're extremely busy. You're all the way in Beverly Hills. Well, how long have you been there now?
6 years now.
Oh, wow. Are you ever going to come back?
No, I can't wait to come back for a visit. I haven't been home for 2.5 years now, so I'm dying to come back to Newcastle and see everyone. But yeah, I'm happy living here. This is my home now.
Oh, I bet. That's incredible. Well, hopefully I'll see you in person one day, because I definitely want to come to one of your retreats. Thank you for giving up your time on this podcast. I'm sure everyone's going to love it. If you do like it, please give us a subscribe on our podcast channel and share it on social media and tag me and Nick in it. I'll share all the links in the podcast notes. So thank you, Nick, so much.
You are so welcome. It's my pleasure.
If I told you that all you need to do is to add a low-cost, high-profit treatment to your services to make more money in less time, would you want to know more? We have helped over 250 hair and beauty professionals go from burnout to actually creating a business that works for them, rather than you being a slave to your own business. The Jenna Lee Academy Group is a specialist permanent makeup academy, and we are experts in helping people like you step into a rewarding and exciting industry. We would absolutely love to hear your questions over on Instagram, where we can tell you exactly how training in permanent makeup has changed so many people's lives. You can find more information in the show notes below, and we really hope to hear from you soon.